and Nish on Teachta Martin Ferris. 5 minutes.
The rural economy needs to be central to a job stimulus programme. Agriculture remains the most important indigenous economic sector, and it is one that has the potential to play a central role in future growth. It contributes over 20 billion to the national income and accounts for 10% of exports. Crucially, it is also far less dependent on import inputs, as just 20% of that is mainly fuels, which comprises one of the major and unpredictable costs of the sector. In order to ensure the future viability of farming, it is crucial that there is a positive outcome to the current negotiations on reforming the farm payment scheme. The current single farm payment is clearly unsustainable and unfairly distributed. There are less than 2% of farmers on payments of 50,000 or more, and some of them are actually businesses rather than active farmers, while over 40% of farmers receive less than €5,000. Hopefully, the outcome of the negotiations will see a decisive shift in favour of the majority of Irish farmers. The crisis caused by the discovery of horsemeal and burgers has also brought to attention the need for a fair trading scheme on behalf of suppliers. While this has reflected badly on the overall food sector, farmers are as much the victims as anybody else. First, they have to deal with the processors who are applying downward pressure on the prices paid to farmers. Secondly, there is a question of why any processor would need to import beef or what is supposed to be beef into this country. The food industry, if it is to fulfil its potential, needs to be properly regulated in terms of traceability and content. My colleague, Deputy Brian Stanley, mentioned the beef sector. And Minister, you will be well acquainted from Maroc with the beef sector and the disgraceful behaviour of the Fianna Fáil government with Mary Coughlin at the helm, Green Corps, and indeed the IFA leadership, who sold out on a very viable sector of the agricultural industry, and in very, very questionable circumstances. And the loss to the workers, the amount of workers in the factories, as well as the contractors and the producers, is something that we are still suffering today. My party supports the re-establishment of the sugar sector, which will include, as well as production for sugar as food, the establishment of a biorefinery plant, which will produce ethanol from beet. The estimated cost of the project is €350 million, with the potential to create up to 5,000 jobs. In the broader economy, there needs to be specific focus on the potential for enterprise and job creation in rural communities. To address the clear imbalance in job creation, there should be regional and sub-regional job creation targets set out for Enterprise Ireland, the IDA, and other enterprise support agencies. One of the reasons farmers are at a disadvantage with the processors is a shift away from co-ops. The surrender of power to large agribusinesses needs to be looked at again. There should be a proactive plan to establish co-ops and to aid job creation in rural communities, including the creation of tax incentives for co-ops that create employment in rural or disadvantaged areas, and making vacant IDA, URAs and other public bodies' premises available for co-op use. One of the key barriers to the development of rural enterprise is the lack of high-speed broadband coverage. DSB, Bord Gáis and Cuillte could work together to roll out comprehensive high-end broadband coverage. DSB already owns 1,300 kilometres of national fibre optics network. Aurora Telecom is a Bord Gáis enterprise company established in 2000 specifically in fibre optics network services, and Cuillte also has 220 mass sites and 100 new rural broadband sites.
1 minute, Deputy.
We're obviously opposed to the sale of Cuillte. Its resources should be used as part of a job creation programme, as part of what we should further develop Cuilte's role in ecotourism. With 10 forest parks and over 150 recreation sites, Cuillte is a leading provider for outdoor recreation in Ireland, with an estimated 18 million visits to forecast under the management of this year. In my own county, in Kerry, and in particular in the major town of Tralee, you have a black spot, an absolute black spot regarding unemployment. And I listened aghast at Deputy Arthur J. Spring when he spoke about winning two visits to Kerry from the IDA. A token appearance in the county, brought about because of the pressure being put on by my party, and our councillors as elected representatives and trying to embarrass the idea to come in and to do something positive and constructive for our county. They have done absolutely nothing to bring any jobs into the county. Have done nothing, not just last year or this year, but going back for the last decade. We've hardly seen them in the county. And I do believe, Minister, that we need to have to decentralise the powers of the IDA to take into account the areas that in rural areas and disadvantaged areas throughout the west coast and the southwest of Ireland. They need to be directed to go into those. And Ireland is more than a 50-mile radius of Dublin.